All right, everybody. Welcome to Did You Hear That with Eric Clausen.
What's up?
We're here with...
Tonight, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, go for it. I'm still not sure.
Tonight we got Avi. We're doing Tarot Blood. We got the song Dowsing we want to go over tonight. So we're just going to do some lyrical analysis and figure out what Avi meant by the words that he said in this beautiful, beautiful song. bit of your, so basically what we're looking for, Avi, is just kind of like, we got questions about like particular lyrics that you have in there, but also, you know, like what was your headspace when you were going through writing those certain things? We definitely want to hit on some certain stuff that you're super interested, like what you really want to expound on in your ideas and that kind of thing. But yeah, we can just take it from there. So in the first stanza of your lyrics, you have a line that says, so when you want to go home, but there's no home to go to, when you'd rather be dead than live a life here without you. Who exactly is like the you in those two scenarios? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's the I guess the overall premise of the song before we get into the too specific of the lyrics?
I'm really glad you guys have the lyrics because I don't have the lyrics in front of me, so I've kind of forgotten what they are.
We got you. I did the same thing with my episode.
Excellent. So to kind of take a step back, the song was lyrically written sometime last year, the year before that. I don't know. I've lost a concept of time a little bit.
Same.
And it was originally written as a Greyjoy song. Musically, lyrically, all of it was already kind of pre-written as a Greyjoy song that just kind of never got a chance to flourish on its own.
Sure.
And at the time of writing, I had already gone through a whole long process of writing Dominion of the Sun with Fifth Density.
Yes.
And I was so incredibly burnt out on words. I didn't want to look at words. I didn't want to think about words. I didn't want any words to be coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So when it came down to like write a song, I wanted to keep it as simplistic and see just how few words I can say in a song and still have some sort of meaning behind it.
Yeah, that's actually a note that I made about some of your lyrics. I really love the simplistic but powerful approach that you take. Like specifically the line, "What do you want me to say, or do you want me to go?"
Right.
I love like almost like the innocent aspect of that, where it's like it's just very vulnerable. It sounds like to me.
Yeah,
I love that.
But to answer your question, because I didn't do that at all, I kind of went on a little tangent of my own, and it's only been 2 seconds into this thing.
This is what we do.
To answer the question, when you want to go home, there's no home to go to. That was, in a very cliche way, home was meant to represent not a physical place, but more symbolic. Whatever your home is. When that aspect of your life is no longer obtainable, whether it's something you used to do, someone you used to know, whatever it may be, there always comes a point in your time, always comes a place and time in your life where you can't go back to doing that thing that you used to love doing.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, whoever it may have been. Or you could have been a physical place. You know.
Sure. Is there like a place that you had in mind, like for yourself, when you were kind of like envisioning those words?
So when it came to writing lyrics for Greyjoy, a lot of it was fictional people,
right,
places, and stuff. I tried to separate myself from the characters that I was creating within each and every song. So it was at the time we had been starting to kind of like dabble with the idea of doing like a concept thematic album that was going to be loosely based off of like 80s movies. Your oh my gosh, what is the director's name?
John Hughes.
John Hughes, thank you so much. your John Hughes movies, and it was just going to be like kind of just a story that focuses on a teenager and their life kind of growing up and dealing with a bunch of different aspects that they don't understand yet. But they're
like a coming of age kind of tale.
Exactly. It was a very coming of age sort of story. So the song's original name was Molly Ringwald. I don't know why, but it just kind of got stuck as that, and then it just kind of got
because of 16 Candles, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you're in an 80s vibe, you can't go wrong with Molly.
Right, and I think that was supposed to be like there wasn't a lot of connection between Molly Ringwald, the person, and the song, but that's the name because it had such a such a John Hughes sort of feel to it. And I don't know where I'm going with this anymore, but
no, you're good. Did it did this song go through a lot of change transitioning from Greyjoy to Terror Blood?
I would say it was a moderate a bit of change. Like, I presented the song to Jacob Miles, producer on pretty much all of the stuff I've ever done with Terror Blood, and I showed him a very rough beginning demo of the song because we never actually went and tracked the song. And I was like, I love these lyrics so much, and I loved the music aspects of it, and I think that we could take aspects of it and like kind of cherry pick and then molded it to become its own sort of thing. So like when I first got the idea, I hit up Phil, who was the guitar player of Greyjoy, and who at the time I thought wrote the song. And I was like, hey, I would love to take Molly Ringwald and then just make it its own different thing with this sort of vibe. And he's like, yeah, man, absolutely. Love that idea. Do that. So went ahead, did that. After the whole recording process, I'm talking to Cameron, who played keys in Greyjoy. And I was like, yeah, so, talk to Phil about reworking Molly Ringwald for this and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that's cool. I wrote that song, though. And I was like,
that's a super awkward moment.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, can I take this song and rework it? He's like, do whatever you want. So yeah,
I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he didn't say, go fuck yourself and don't you dare take my song and use it. Yeah. But no, he was very giving with the song, so I appreciated cool. that.
It sounds like there was like a lot like on the song that like you really connected with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I it was always one of my favorite Greyjoy songs, and I always wished we actually sat down and recorded it. But now in hindsight, I'm glad we didn't, because then I could steal it and then you make it into my own thing. But no, seriously, I enjoyed the song so much, whether we were doing it live or just playing it at practice. And it always, I felt like it was the truest form of what I had originally envisioned for Greyjoy, of this kind of minimalist, very somber sort of song. So when we started taking the pieces of it for Terror Blood, I knew I wanted it to be very, still keeping in that minimalistic sort of realm, where it's really just heavy on the bass synth, and the real hook to it is the synth pad, the low melody that follows through, that inevitably became a sax melody or a riff. So yeah, those were the key elements I knew needed to stay, and then everything else was just going to be reimagined.
Yeah, evolve into what it is now.
So then, what is your favorite line from this song?
You don't have the lyrics in front of you. Do you want us to like?
No,
right back.
But do you have a favorite off the top of your head?
Please check
off the
us
top
out
of my
on
head.
Facebook at facebook.com/The Secret Hideout Show, or on Twitter, Instagram,
or
Spotify under The Secret Hideout Show Presents.
Anytime I've ever heard like a pop song,
thank you. Have a great day.
That's not anytime. That's a dumb way to preface to start a sentence.
But a generalized idea inside your head.
Yes, yeah. Pop music, there will be a segment where they say like, and stop, and then the music kind of stops, or they stop singing and the music keeps going. I don't know how I'm supposed to be painting this, and it's not making a whole lot of sense, but I've always wanted to do that in a song. So when I say I'm not killing time, it's dead, and then I just kind of let it go. That was me as an 8 or 9-year-old listening to songs when they're like, and stop, and then like they stop doing what they're doing, but the music keeps doing. I don't know but that was kind of like a rewarding moment where I actually got to do the thing that I saw pop stars doing when I was a kid, and I thought that was cool. So,
dude, that's really cool.
I think that's awesome. That's my favorite line I was going to mention is I'm not killing time, it's dead. And
yeah.
And I think we can get so caught up on things that distract us, or time killers. I find myself constantly finding things to kill time. when I don't want to deal with the thing I'm currently dealing with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like, maybe I'm not just killing time at that moment. Maybe I just, whatever it needs to get done should just not be done.
Oh, I was going to ask you specifically about those lyrics and what you meant by that. And I really like that interpretation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So then I have a question for just my own personal information. Did somebody record the sax solo, or is it a synth?
I was curious on that too.
Oh, this is actually something I'm genuinely kind of excited to talk about. We actually did get a sax player to come in to actually record, and he did such a phenomenal job. His name is Sean. I'm going to butcher his last name. Tortillas?
I think I know who you're talking.
Tortillist. I feel really bad now because I can't. It's like I see his last name and I can't say it.
It's like you're like momentarily get some dyslexia involved. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I have a few friends with names like that.
Right. But yeah, he just came in and I presented the song to him. Obviously before any sort of sax idea, but I said, hey, just take this melody, learn that melody, and then for the bridge, just kind of do whatever you like. And so when we brought him in, it took maybe 5-10 minutes of tracking. He just came in and just rocked out a sax solo. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Thanks for coming in, I guess, and I'll talk to you later. So
do you still have to pay you for the full hour?
yeah. He was extremely courteous enough to do it, not even pro bono. He just did it for free. So that was really rad of him. Really cool. I constantly am just like, I should probably have paid that person to do this. This makes the song. It really does.
It is next level, definitely. It was a good move adding that in there. Did he learn it on the spot, or did he improvise that solo, or what was that?
I think he maybe had 2 days of listening to the song for the first time. Yeah, we really didn't give him a whole lot of time. I had talked to him in advance, but then didn't actually have the song to
practice to or anything.
To practice to it, yeah. So I probably was like, hey, here you go. Please come in on Thursday with something, you amazing person.
Dude, it's when you work with like musicians who can handle that type of like handoff, though, that is so relieving.
Oh,
I feel like I worked the best in that amount of time, though. You know, like the article I wrote about you and Cody. Like I wrote that in 40 minutes earlier, but it just kind of like it popped out of my head. You know?
Yeah. I love trying to work within a small window of time. That honestly is the only thing that motivates me to do music, is when someone gives me a very strict time limit to pump something out. I think those are when your most interesting bits of writing are going to come in, because you're digging into the very deep recesses of your mind, because you have to. It's fight or flight.
Desperation.
That urgency. Exactly. I watched this TED Talk once with this guy who was talking about, he was a pointillism artist for a long time, and he started to develop a tremor so that he couldn't do pointillism anymore. His hands weren't accurate enough, but he was like a lifetime dedicated artist, and he found that one of the problems that he had once he dropped out of art school because he couldn't do pointillism anymore was he had too many options. He could do too many things, and that was paralyzing, and so for the longest time he didn't do anything. And one of the ways that he overcame that was giving himself limitations and set deadlines and different things like that. And I definitely noticed that in myself as well. I was actually going to bring it up earlier when you were talking about limiting yourself lyrically, because I think when you set roadblocks like that for yourself, when you don't give yourself just like free reign to run anywhere and you have like a certain goal in mind, I think it does produce a better product. It does like, it forces you to dig into a certain area of your mind, like you said. But I think it also, it forces you to get more creative within the confines of your space, because what normally may have been like a passing line, now you're like, no, I got to rework that. I got to refine it. I need to make it fit this specific area better. You know, like it forces you to become a more thoughtful artist, I think.
What is it they say, that necessity breeds ingenuity?
Yeah.
That's
It's
brilliant.
the mother of invention or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
are there any other parts of this song that you feel have a meaning beyond itself, or maybe a story that you'd like to go over?
Hmm.
Obviously, without having them in there in front of you. If you feel like we've hit the
Right.
concept, we could talk about the music video too.
Right. Kind of going back a little bit, you'd mentioned sort of, I guess, innocence or maybe even naivety of what do you want me to say or do you want me to go? I felt like that was because it is the chorus. I felt like it had to be something profound, and then I landed on that, and it didn't feel profound at the time. But for some reason it just it stuck, and I thought eventually this was just going to be filler words. You know, when we're writing in a group, or at least with Greyjoy, we would write in person, and I would just kind of mumble words, and then eventually those mumbled words would become actual words. So when the melody,
I did the same kind of thing.
yeah, you kind of just kind of go da, da,
Start with
da,
a cadence, yeah.
yeah. So I had the da, 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 and I knew that was essentially going to be the melody. But when I landed on those words, I was like, that's fine. It's fine for now.
It fits.
And then it just progressed past that's fine too. You know, that means a lot. I don't know what it means yet, but it means something to me.
Yeah.
And then I began to elaborate and think more on that. And yeah, you really do reach the point of words. It kind of took me back to the point of me not wanting to say anything anymore. I didn't want to write any more words. I'd just gone through writing 10 songs. I think Dominion's 10 songs.
Yeah, that's a lot of lyrics to bump out.
And all of the songs are easily 5 to 8 minutes long. So I was so burnt out on, and of course it was a concept album, and we like wrote a concept behind the concept album. It was a lot to take in, and it was really, really fun. It was a fun creative process. But after that, I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't have any more words to use. So it's just like what do you want me to say at this point? And
or do you want me to go?
You want me exactly? So it was personal, but it wasn't. But it was.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think.
I totally hear that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's what I think I've always appreciated about both. I mean, your lyrical style here in Terror Blood, as well as in Greyjoy, or even in synthwave and synth pop as a whole, is that there's so much to it in a singular line, and that's kind of why I wanted to have you and Cody as these two kind of juxtaposed episodes, is because Cody's very verbose. Cody's got moments where like I've had to look up words in the dictionary to understand some of his verses.
Oh yeah,
monophobic.
Right? Yeah, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
You'll never have to do that with me.
And I think they have equal effect.
Yeah. Definitely. I was actually just talking with some friends recently about like one of my favorite things in lyricism. I mean, I love also that kind of stuff, like learning new words and expanding my vocabulary and doing things like that. But I love it when an artist sounds almost conversational with the way that they speak to you, where it's like they're not saying anything you wouldn't hear them say outside of a song. Like it's not overly poetic. It's not overthought. It's just communication.
Right.
I really do. I do value that in art as well, and I think you killed that on this. Honestly, it was definitely a point that I was specifically going to bring up. So I think it's really cool that you did that on purpose. Thank you.
I feel like lyrically, I try to keep it as simple, stupid pop, but with different genres of music as much as I can. I always felt personally that the chorus was always one of the stronger suits that I had, and why not just attack that and beat it into a bloody pulp, and then verses can just be, I don't know, whatever.
The space between choruses.
Yeah. The first verse, same, or what's the line?
Don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah, there you go. Something to that effect. Placebo has a really funny line. First, and I can't remember it now. So that shows that it means something to me.
So that on that note, then we talked about this a little earlier, kind of giving you some prep. What is your favorite lyric then? Whether it be personal, whether it be from a musician you admire, anything like that.
Or even one that's just like been speaking to you recently.
Yeah.
So I had two in mind. I guess I'll go with the one that I actually remember first, and hope that the other one comes to me at some point while I'm talking, which tends to be how I talk. It's just me forgetting things, and then at some point I remember what the hell I was talking about.
All conversation is improv.
Yes. So, just recently, to go on a small tangent of nerdisms, the D&D group that I am in with Cody, to reference back to Cody, we have gotten into a trend of creating playlists for our characters based on their backstories, just who they are, songs that we felt really are relevant to the character. And as nerdy as that sounds, and I don't care, it's such a fun creative outlet and such a fun way of either finding new music or just digging up old songs that you've heard that now you can kind of superimpose onto another character and kind of flesh out that character more because of it. And
yeah, that's cool.
And I feel like Cody would agree that like creative writing is so important to us, whether it's be writing lyrics or sometimes with me stories and whatnot. But there was a song that I kind of glanced over on the first time when I listened to the album, but it's off of, what album is it? I don't remember the album. It's not the popular album. Okay, so it's by Two Door Cinema Club, and it's not First History, but it's the other one. Anyways, the song is called Sleep Alone. And the line, let me pull this up so I don't butcher it. He sleeps alone. He needs no armies where he's headed, 'cause he knows that they're just ghosts and they can't hurt him if he can't see them. And that, I don't know why that just felt so profound recently to me. It's just I don't know, that one just really hit. And then later on, just he kind of summarizes it in the last verse or the bridge, when he says they can't hurt him because they're just ghosts, and they can't hurt him if he can't see them. And I don't know if in the morning I will be there or be here, and let it be known that I was worthy, I was worthy, I was worthy. And I don't know, that hit me in a weird way.
Yeah, like in an emotional way, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Emotional and just relatable. I think, yeah, because we spend so much time finding our own validity in our life.
Dude.
So yeah, that was a really cool one for me.
I like that. I like the idea, like what I kind of pulled from that when you were describing it just now, because I'm kind of unfamiliar with the song. Is the idea of like, it sounds to me like he's talking about the idea of those past wounds being technically like the ghosts. How we can tend to like ignore them to shut out the power that they have. Basically kind of the idea of like our pain only has as much power as we pay attention to it.
Right.
I think that's a really cool idea. I think that's really beautiful.
Too,
and especially
it's a point on the futility of hiding from your fears. So
yeah.
You know, like even as kids, when something's scary, we hide our head in the sheets, right? And it's not going to keep us safe, but we feel better.
Right.
Yeah. It sounds like that's kind of what it's about. And then the idea, I really love stuff like what you were pulling out with the I'm worthy, like the self-love, self-motivation kind of stuff. Like, yeah. Because I do believe that in an era like ours, when there is so much to do with like the discovery of self, and we're like, you know, our generation is casting off a lot of different things when it comes to like religious and political doctrines, and running in our own direction and trying to find ourselves. And when we dismantle those old foundations, it becomes hard to form new ones. And when you're trying to judge yourself by an old paradigm that doesn't really exist or doesn't really resonate with you anymore, it can be hard to find and ascribe to yourself titles like worthy or loving or like whatever these other like positive labels are. It can be difficult.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of power in, even if you feel the difficulty of those things, in claiming them, and recognizing, whether or not you feel a certain way, knowing that you are in fact worthy, or you are loved, or you are forgiven, or whatever it is that your spirit needs, in those moments. I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Just to kind of piggyback on that a little bit. Yeah. Personally, as somebody that writes lyrics, I spent a great deal of time writing kind of self-loathing sort of lyrics, whether they were in a metal sort of context or then they were kind of adapted to be in a Greyjoy context. I don't know what to call Greyjoy, rock, indie, rock, alternative.
Somewhere in that vein, yeah.
Yeah. And it was almost became kind of redundant after a while, just like how much of a pity party can I write for myself.
I've been there, yeah.
And it's great to get those thoughts out, and it's great to use that as a creative outlet, but there does kind of becomes an Olympic sport of who can wallow the most in their own shit,
Yeah.
And I mean that in the best way, because everyone needs to say that, but for me it just kind of became sport rather than genuine feelings. So I was like, okay, yeah, I feel this way. How am I helping myself at this moment? What am I doing to maybe pull myself out of what I call the void of when you're writing and you just keep sinking deeper into your own written words and making yourself feel worse because of it. So not to say that Terror Blood was a sort of counter to that to make me feel better, because a lot of the aspects were still, or some of the stuff still can have a little bit of a darkness to it, but it was more of an empowering sort of darkness than a
more pensive than brooding.
Exactly.
That's a good way to put it.
Exactly. And that's when I kind of started to feel like my own artist, rather than just kind of doing what others may be doing, is when the songs started becoming more empowering than self-berating.
Yeah. I think that I think that also could just be like a part of, growing up and coming of age. And
absolutely.
And I think, just speaking of my own mental health journey, definitely part of the push to get better started in just the exhaustion with being sad and angry all the time, and wanting to do something else because I've just been in it for so long.
Oh yeah, it's tedious.
Negative influences that you've spent your whole life having influenced on you, and then wanting to be the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, it can be very tedious carrying around that weight.
All the days
definitely.
Being angry.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we really have. Unfortunately, you didn't have a ton of lyrics for us to dig through on this one. You killed it on that simple front.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I didn't want to keep you guys too long.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Sean.
I was just gonna say, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Oh, yes. What is today? The
24th.
Okay, so in almost exactly a month.
Perfect. The episode will be out, I think.
26th, 28th. I don't know. One of those days in October, I will be dropping a song with, my gosh, can you just cut this out of
We'll edit it. We'll edit the dead air.
With blank.
With.
Yeah, just give yourself a second before you say his name.
Yes. Oh, man. I am having a complete... Okay, so just to kind of...
Hey, it's that COVID brain.
Yeah, just to kind of harken back on the fact that I spend a lot of my time trying to remember what I was saying and what I... Yeah, that is
I got
really
you, bro.
bad. That's
No, you're
bad.
good. If you got to look it up real quick, that's totally okay.
Oh my God, I just remembered. I'm so sorry. Okay. So retake. Yes. So actually, yes, there is something I would like to promote for the next month, which is October, about the 26th or 28th. I don't remember exactly the dates, so just don't close out of any social media because it will be there eventually. And myself and Runaway Droid from Finland
Oh, hell yeah.
worked on a song during quarantine. It was one of a couple, and we're both really, really excited about it. He approached me with the song, and it on first listen, I was like, "This is so much different than anything he's done and anything I've done, so it's perfect. Let's just do it." But it's a very moody sort of track, and I'm really excited for that. That it's going to be called Something Blue, and that comes out next month around
Heck yeah, man.
the Hollows of Eve.
Dude, well, we're going to have you back on to talk about that one for sure, because it's going to be, I want to hear the whole story about how you got in contact with some dude from Finland to make a song. That's going to be cool.
Absolutely. I await with bated breath my re-invitation to this lovely segment that you guys have created, and I
definitely.
really appreciate you guys having me on, and for my first talk thing with people.
Hell yeah, man.
First interview.
Yeah.
Very
Dude,
cool.
thank you for being a part of it.
Absolutely.
It'll be released probably shortly before your song comes out in October. So people will hopefully be able to listen to this and get the hype train started.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Awesome.
it.
Awesome.
Very
Well, thanks
cool.
for stopping by, Avi.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. Thank you,
Thank
Eric.
you. Thanks
Appreciate
for
you.
coming. Bye.